Washington County residents who are spending more than a week to travel from Hillsborough to the Oregon coast. Now, what's taking them so long is part of Jim Hyde's Passages story for today.
In the 19th century and in the movies, this is the way people came to Oregon.
Wagons ho!
Today, there are faster ways to reach the coast, but by riding with their families in authentic wagons over dusty mountain roads, these Washington County 4-H Club members can realize all they have missed on motorized trips. 85 people left Hillsborough on Saturday morning, and by Friday night they'll be at Fort Clatsop near Astoria. But first, they must conquer the Coast Range. On the steep grades, frequent rest stops are necessary for the animals and the people.
I think what happens to us in the 1980s is we get very independent because of our mobility and everything. Whether we're young or old, we are extremely independent. This kind of program does not allow for that because we've really got to be a group and we have to pull together.
Lyle Speichert began organizing wagon train experiences 3 years ago as part of his job, OSU Extension Agent for Washington County. Planning for this year's trip began in January, with the work being divided among parents and children. That system continues on the trail, with the wagon master, ramrod, cooks, and wranglers all having junior partners to learn the jobs and share the responsibility for making the train run smoothly. The wagons and draft horses are donated and usually driven by their owners, although anyone can get the hang of it after a little 19th century driver's training. The trip is, first of all, a lot of fun. But there is also time to think about where you are going and what it took for the original settlers to get to Oregon.
Real pioneers, all they had was the canvas of their wagon, and they could either sleep in the wagon or under it. And they went through snow and everything else. We kind of plan ours in the middle of the summer when we know the weather, and we've got radio contact with the Forestry Service and everything else. So we're just seeing a very, very small portion of what they had to go through.
This wagon made the journey from Illinois to the Oregon country 100 years ago this summer. Now fully restored, it's finally finishing the journey all the way to the Pacific Ocean with the 4-H Wagon Train.
What we can accomplish by this kind of an activity is bring people together in an environment that has a significant challenge to it, something that's fairly difficult to overcome, and help teach them to learn new things and to overcome that kind of challenge so that when they go back from a wagon train experience, they can integrate it into their life.
On the wagon road to Fort Clatsop, Jim Hyde, Channel 2 News.
I would take a pillow. Thanks for watching.
Embarking on a cross-country wagon train in the 1980s, I assure you, is no small challenge. For the 90 modern-day pioneers that journeyed the 106 miles from Hillsborough to Fort Clatsop, their lives encountered a new dimension. They not only traveled at a much slower pace, but more importantly, they reached a new dimension with nature, with others, and probably most significantly with themselves. There is a feeling you obtain by confronting obstacles and pulling together that allow for this new meaning to life. You come to learn that the truly important qualities of life relate directly to others. Things like a listening ear, an outstretched hand, a word of encouragement, the space to make an error, and above all, the unconditions of love. The 4-H Wagon Train, created in Washington County in 1980, has directly touched the lives of over 400 friends. Every trek is a new adventure, with every minute filled by a new challenge. This program, designed to teach basic human skills, sends families and individuals to new depths of interpersonal relations. In our high-tech society of the 80s, it is refreshing to step aboard a wagon train that renews some very basic human values. The feel of a team in hand, the sense of accomplishment by walking a full day's journey, the satisfaction of whittling your very own whistle around an evening campfire, the delight of drinking from a mountain stream, or the newfound depths of relating to family and friends. These simple pleasures take on new meaning as these brave pioneers return to their everyday lives. They return with a renewed appreciation for life, with new skills and attitudes that will enable them to live more fully, to value each precious moment of life. It is a pleasure to know these new pioneers. They and those that have supported them are set apart in this experience called life. I salute each and every one of them.
Okay, now we go back to Amazing Grace. See you later, pal.
What do you got there in your hand? Is that some kind of new gadget?
It's a whistle.
A whistle? How did you make the whistle?
No. Somebody else did it.
How does it work? Show us how it works. What do you think it would have been like being a pioneer 100 years ago?
Hard.
Hard. What seems to be the hardest thing about the train?
All you have to sit in bags and put them in.
Doing what?
All up sleeping bags.
Oh, rolling up sleeping bags. Is that because you're half asleep?
Yeah.
What time do you do that? What time do you get up on the wagon train?
5:30. Driving the freight wagon.
You drive the freight wagon, huh? What's that like?
Well, it's real exciting. It's kind of hard, because the horses sometimes, like, want to run, and it's hard to hang on to them. They'll, like, pull you off the wagon. It's bumpy.
Bumpy.
Yeah.
Tell us how bumpy it is.
It's like, you get jogged around a lot, because there's big rocks on the roads and stuff.
What's this badge here? You got a badge that says Tenderfoot, Breakaway 84. What does that mean? It looks like there's a Band-Aid on there. I don't quite understand. Can you tell us how you got that?
From walking.
When we traveled half a day, there were a lot of kids that played catch that they probably normally don't have a lot of kids to play with. And so they passed their time away playing catch and just meeting other friends and having fun.
People get real close on the train. I think there's a lot of new friends made and a lot of understanding of our own selves. Do you feel that you've learned more about yourself through the last two trains?
Yes, I have. The first year I drove the team of horses, and this year I bought a saddle horse, and it's a totally different responsibility, and you got to get along with two different, basically, groups. You got to get used to the saddle horse groups, and last year I had to get along with the teamsters, and it's really different.
What's that like, to be a junior wagon master? And tell the truth.
It's okay. Lots of excitement. You get to be involved with, you get treated more like an adult instead of a kid.
How does it feel to be out in front leading the wagon train across Oregon in the 1980s?
Different. Feels like you're back in the 1800s and the future.
Somebody get your lunch for you?
Well, then you do it. Katie, Todd's got it, thank you.
You want it in low wagon? Low wagon? Sandwiches?
Oh, thanks, Lynn.
Hecklers, fronts and old George too, and Warner's hitch ready for the glue. With like Bay's big old Shire that is ready to retire. It's a great train after all. 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 It's a great, great train. We have fighting and kicking on the picket line, and 22 riders that don't feel so fine. But they all sure will go when it's time for the show. It's a great train after all. 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 It's a great, great train. We've got good old Lyle getting stuck in the mud, but a great cook, that's sure not a dud. If more can't drive, it's great to be alive. It's a great train after all. 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 It's a great, great train. Today we have saw he gets kicked in the pants, and George's steady looking for romance. Steady's hollering at old Prince, and dirty water for the rents. It's a great train after all. 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 It's a great, great train. Okay. When you've got to go in the middle of the night with your kidneys floating and the moon ain't bright, with your rear end dragging, where the heck is that wagon? It's a great train after all. It's a great train after all. It's a great train after all. It's a great, great train. I remember we went to that man's place. Okay, now we finally made it to Clatsop Fort. We looked like Cotton's Army at a local resort. It certainly was a thrill to be part of the special drill. It's a great train after all. 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 It's a great, great train.
Their unique form of theater to our part of the world on horseback. The Caravan Stage Company is touring the West Coast this year and next, playing to audiences in mostly small towns and on college campuses. The dream of two actors, husband and wife, Paul and Nance Kirby, the Stage Company was formed in 1977, and ever since it's been growing and traveling. Major funding is through the Canadian Council of the Arts and Department of External Affairs, but the actors are paid by their patrons. Photographer Carol Thomas takes us on the road with the Caravan Stage Company.
When we come down to a world that is going completely electronic. I mean, Canada is sort of slightly, maybe 10 years behind. There's still people that live off blood and sweat up in Canada, but they come down here and, we find very few examples of people who who really sweat for a living. Well, here in the caravan, you sweat all the time for what you make. This is a real physical reality. You live by the wits of your physical and mental being.
Somebody robbed the CPR, they're spreading the news near and far. Somebody stopped it, robbed it of its gold. Now across the Dominion, the story is told. Somebody robbed the CPR, you can play it on your fiddle and your own guitar. Some people say it's a terrible crime, but as for me, I think it's just about time. Somebody robbed the CPR. Some people say it's a terrible crime, but as for me, I think it's just about time.
Is Larry Point? Could you maybe take that position from him? Because it sounds like he's fairly uptight, and it might be a good idea to give him a break.
The original vision of the Caravan as a theater company was to develop theater in such a way that it would be as attractive and alluring and adventurous as possible.
All the theater companies I know that tour in cars and buses and trucks and whatnot don't do very well at all. Our show is the horses. That immediately brings focus to us.
You spend, on a day like today, we spend about 12 hours traveling and getting ready. Or we spend the whole day getting ready and traveling. So there's very little time to work as an actor unless you find some way to make this resourceful.
You can come in here and we can play 2 or 3 nights in small communities like Hillsborough, McMinnville, Wilsonville, and Sandy, and Malala. And we can do 2 nights, 3 nights and get good houses. I'm trying to break down the barriers of these sort of urban castles of theaters and bring theater out into the masses of people that never experience live theater, and that's why we play small communities.
Think we'll need to, or?
For all these guys?
I'd say just one for now.
Pardon? Yeah, I'm just bringing it, getting it down.
Over the horse head?
Yeah.
The kind of energy that you need to go down the road and to get the horses going and get everything into the wagons, get the wagons moving down the road is very different than the kind of energy that you need to do a show.
La, 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 la.
To the shower?
You look funnier in that hat. You get a bigger laugh in that hat. But the brim is too small. You look too much like a city fellow.
But you really have to look hard for people that have the talent to do really high quality theater and also have the determination and the strength and the flexibility
And the sense of humor.
to work in these kind of conditions, you know, and stay.
And they're all romantics. We're all romantics.
Yeah.
That's what
Incurable romantics.
I don't know what to do.
Okay, we ready?
Oh, God.
Wait a second! Hold it! It's not gonna work.
What's happening?
I can't get the halyard to on. You gotta swing it over.
The stress factor on you physically and mentally is extreme, and the demands are extreme. But you have to. But that's the kind of challenge that makes this and makes overall makes it really worthwhile.
There's no such thing as a routine day in the caravan, first of all. Every day is completely different. Every moment is very different. It's constantly changing. That's one thing you have to really get used to right away. You have to be flexible, adaptable. If you want to keep any material possessions at all, you have to be very meticulous.
So this juggling of group and individuality is a fundamental issue in the caravan. I think people come to the caravan because they want to be where those two meet, because everything has to be done within this little circle that moves down the road.
So that's just a small snack, and we probably will have something after the show.
Corn ready?
Yeah, corn is ready, and there is some eggs right here to be eaten for supper.
We played places in BC where there is literally nothing there. We set up our tent in a cow pasture and performed to 300 people. They all came out of the hills and from the ranches and from the farms.
I'm in one scene, the card scene, just a small bit.
Which he steals.
What?
Which he steals every.
But I'm mostly the fiddler, so I get a lot of. Yeah, I guess it's a Western musical comedy, so the fiddle is sort of integral within that idea.
I play Reverend Fisher, a Scottish reverend, and Ace Cleft, a bass player, and Fernie, a police officer, and a cowboy who gets killed.
Here we are. Enjoy the show.
No, which do you think?
No, it's too contemporary. Yeah, there you go. Listen to your wife. Are you okay?
It's actually a bit of a clown here. Okay, Al.
I just realized I'm not naked. My cat.
What?
I want my other hat.
There's gold in the bank and there's gold in the store. There's gold in the restaurant and the bar. There's gold on the ribbons and gold on the roads and gold on the CPR.
For this show, we interpreted it quite differently, and we put in new elements. It's the story of a man who believed that you have to live your dreams. You know, that you, rather than die of hypertension, greed, and gluttony, live your dreams. There's more power in living these dreams out. And in that sense, it's an expression of the caravan, too.
Well, take your hands down. I don't want you to fly away. Where's the Frisco pouch?
It's in the express car.
This is the express car.
This is the baggage car.
What are you talking about?
Oh, well, you left the express car back there with the rest of the train. What? They want us to get cracking. We are tracking. Cracking. We've been tracking now for 3 days straight with hardly any sleep. We've been through bushes, through briars, through brambles, through bogs, through bitter winds, and that's only the bees. We love them where they cross the road.
Having a very good performance, having the house full, and having a really good audience with lots of energy. Just carries the whole show through, and when it's all over with you, you go, yeah, that's what it's about.
And in the Kamloops, where trains run down the main street. Nobody weeps to see the CPB. Somebody robbed the CPR. You can play on your fiddle and your old guitar. Some people say it's a terrible crime, but as for me, I think it's just about.
The caravan will be spending the winter in Eugene, then it's on to Northern California and San Francisco. A well-deserved rest. That's our program for this week. For Tana Lang, Carolyn Young, and Russell Sandler, I'm Mike Donahue. Good night.
He went.